House Republicans went on the COVID shit. Jury selection begins for Hunter Biden's federal trial. Oh, this was funny. Dr. Anthony Fauci testifies before the House Select Subcommittee on the coronavirus pandemic. And these fucking dumbasses were like, how much money have you made? And he was like, I haven't made any money from the royalties. And I think he made $700 or something total.
Aliatakis from New York for 5 minutes.
Yeah, COVID arguments are back.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think many of us in the committee are really disturbed by revelations to this committee that there were officials at NIH that deleted government records, they deleted they used personal information, personal emails to communicate and circumvent freedom of information laws. So I just had a couple questions about that. Dr. Fauci, did you delete any emails or records related to the Wuhan lab or the origins of the virus?
No, I did not.
Okay. Dr. Morins said in a May 2021 email, he indicated that he was connecting people to you in a, quote, secret back channel. Do you know what he was referring to?
I don't have any idea what he's talking about. There is no back channel at NIAID.
Okay, there is, he also said in another email that there is no worry about Freedom of Information Act. I can send stuff to Tony on his private email. Did you communicate with anyone relating to anything regarding NIH or with Dr. Morins on a private email?
I do not do government business on my private email.
Okay, so have you communicated with Dr. Morins via private email, even if it was not necessarily your definition of government business?
It might have been because, as I mentioned in my opening statement, one of his functions is to write chapters, medical scientific chapters with me, so it is conceivable that I communicated with him on my private email when we were writing a chapter, and that was not official.
What about Peter Daszak?
No.
Okay. I just want to clarify for the record, because today you testified that you did not suppress the lab leak theory, yet in the past you have said, quote, it is a distortion of reality, unquote. You've said, quote, I've heard these conspiracy theories, and like all conspiracy theories, they're just conspiracy theories. That's what you told the American people. And
yeah, you want to know why? Because the only people at the time that was saying the lab leak theory is 100% correct was not the scientists. It was actually the American State Department. A fun fact that many liberals who now also are like, no, it's definitely the lab leak theory, which I'm not ruling out. It is still a theory, just like zoonotic spread is a theory. You have to weigh these theories. You have to weigh these theories with as much evidence as is physically available. Okay? There is no scientific consensus. At the time, the scientific consensus was leaning on zoonotic spread, which I believe still, unless something is like genuinely shifted. Ryan Grimm was a lab leak theory for a bit. Yeah. Shh, guys, let Fauci cook. Okay, Toddick. Okay, Toddick. We still have no fucking actual evidence in either direction.
so would you like to clarify what science were you following then versus now?
Yeah, no, I've also been very, very clear and said multiple times that I don't think the concept of there being a lab leak is inherently a conspiracy theory. What is conspiracy is the kind of distortions of that particular subject, like it was a lab leak and I was parachuted into the CIA like Jason Bourne and told the CIA that they should really not be talking about a lab leak.
Thank you.
That's the conspiracy.
Appreciate that. Dr. Fauci, how much have you earned from royalties from pharmaceutical companies since the pandemic began in 2021?
Zero.
See, that's
It says NIH scientists made $710 million in royalties from drug makers. You're saying that you did not receive.
So that's the article that she printed out. Okay, look at this fucking dumb fuck. Okay, hold on. A fact they tried to hide. Okay, almost all of that went to the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases. The sub-agency led by Antonio Fauci, okay? Except it turns out he got no money from it directly in his fucking, like, he didn't make any of the money. Like, they're making it seem like he was the one who was just like fucking raking it in. Is she implying he made $700 million off the vaccine? Yes, that's what she's implying. Except the reality of the matter is, yeah, they're funding the fucking vaccinations. It goes back into grants, as far as I know. Like, yeah, that's just how the government works. You know what I mean? They give money that Donald Trump also gave to corporations. Operation Warp Speed, if you will. Okay? And then that money goes back to the government.
Receive any of the $710 million.
To make more gay vaccines. And by that, I don't mean vaccines to stop you from catching the gay. I mean vaccines that make you gay and autistic.
On COVID, I received, I think, $122 for a monoclonal antibody that I made 27 years ago.
Okay, so just in general, though, how much have you...
Yo, that's kickback, son. There you go. This guy, it wasn't $0. It was $112, baby. We got him. Fucking got him, dude. Fuck this guy. Nope. That's it. Throw the book at him.
Received, not related to COVID, just in general, how much have you received in royalties between 2021 and 2023?
I think none.
Okay, so somebody received the $710 million.
Somebody did, but not me.
You didn't receive any royalties. Okay.
I mean, I see no royalties associated with COVID. I mentioned.
I said.
No, I want.
No, I just said.
I'm on the record, and I want to make sure that this is clear. That I've developed a monoclonal antibody about 25 years ago that's used as a diagnostic that has nothing to do with COVID, and I receive an average of about $120 a year from that patent.
But the bottom line here is that scientists at NIH did receive.
I'm honestly surprised you like Fauci is a good guy. What? I think it's ridiculous. I understand that epidemiologists and people in healthcare, in public health, are in a really fucking unique predicament, especially when there's a novel disease that is literally melting the old, okay? In that circumstance, you have to play a fucking tightrope. That tightrope is, how cautious can we be to ensure the maximum amount of fucking people, all right? How cautious do we have to be? What can we communicate? Did they go far out in their caution? Absolutely, of course, but that's completely fucking... That is one of the few unique instances where the government does have your back for obvious reasons, because they don't want you to fucking die. Like, what do you mean? Their job is to literally communicate dense scientific literature to the public in a way that is like understandable and set precautions so that people don't fucking die, because unfortunately, we're stupid as shit. Okay? It's the same exact principle behind seatbelt laws.
$710 million in royalties. And I guess my question is, don't you think that if these experiments are made using American tax dollars, that any of those royalties, this nearly billions of dollars, should be going back to the American taxpayer, not in the pockets of the scientists? Do you believe that's a law that we should consider changing?
If you want to change the patent laws and the Bayh-Dole Act, then go ahead.
Okay.
But that's not for me to say.
I'm asking your opinion. Okay. Well, anyway, moving on, I just want to say that, we know billions of dollars have been funding these animal experiments, both here domestically and in foreign land. I'm very troubled by the cruel, horrific animal research that has been done on U.S. land and in foreign laboratories. Taxpayers are footing the bill for billions of dollars.
She's trying to hit the white woman angle too. She's like, "Yo, think about the puppies. What was it? They killed beagles or something? What the fuck was it?
These beagle puppies that have their their throats slit. They're being injected with ticks. They are murdered after just a few months.
Bro, I think it's literally more just to engage in animal testing for life-saving medication for humans than it is to eat them for personal consumption. And I don't even have an issue with eating them. So I'm sorry. Like, animal testing when it comes to like makeup, ridiculous. Animal testing when it comes to like actual life-saving medication, are you fucking kidding me? Are you insane? Like, yeah, no shit, dude. I think we should do that, actually. You know who else we test medication on? Life-saving medication? Humans. Like, what are we doing? What the fuck? I don't know if you know this process, but it's for the betterment of society as a whole. So the dumb fucks like you who are too stupid and that natural selection would completely fucking remove you from this planet under every other goddamn circumstance is actually going to work against your better judgments. Then skip the animals. You are out of your fucking mind. The reason why we tested on animals first before we tested on humans is so that we're just not melting humans. What are you saying? Like, humans are going to die regardless, ultimately, in this process, but it might as well be that we kill the least amount of humans. The difference is consent. The animals can't consent to being melted. Yeah, I don't give a shit. They're fucking animals, dude. What are we talking about? Vegans, shut the fuck up. Okay, trust the process. I don't know if you're fucking farming in here, but what is happening here? What the fuck? Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my Lord. Okay. All right. Clipton Centipede. Yeah, they're factory farming harder right now than fucking they care.
Piglets, rabbits, you name it. FDA is saying we no longer need to be testing human medications on animals, that there's other ways to achieve this. Can you comment on that, if it's time for the United States of America to be moving on from these cruel animal and horrific costly tests?
I'd be happy to comment, but I'm puzzled as to what that has to do with the origins of COVID.
Well, I have a question about it.
Okay,
and
I'd be
before
happy
this
to
committee,
answer.
and it has to do in general with the amount of waste of tax dollars that NIH is using.
Well,
You are being speciesist, and history will not look back fondly at you. It's all right. Everyone should be allowed to have one bad take, okay? If history looks back at me and says I'm a monster, then so be it, okay?
the animal experiments that are conducted by and funded by NIH go through strict regulations of the proper use of animals in research. So I'm not, Congressman, with all due respect, I'm not trying to be confrontative. I'm not sure what you're talking about, but the experiments that the NIH funded go through strict regulatory processes of the treatment of animals, the humane treatment of animals.
Well, they're not very humane, and I will say, as the former director,
Bro, what are you talking about? You're a Republican in American Congress? Like, get the fuck out of here. What do you mean? They're not very humane. Like, what is your party literally fucking melts the poor in its advocacy and women that want to fucking get a medical process like an abortion. Shut the fuck up. It's so, what a ridiculous sham trial. But I guess vegans would agree with that because, like, human beings are consenting or something. I don't fucking know. What? Drake, X Snow Day, Wagwan, Delilah?
And oh, no, there's a 40 in my jeans. And oh, your shorty wants to reach. So these are my Camry jeans.
No. I refuse, man. I refuse. All right, they're doing COVID conspiracy theories this morning by somehow pinning the pandemic on Fauci, the one guy in Trump's orbit who was sane and rational throughout the ordeal. They don't want to have a reality-based conversation about who really botched things and who got us out of the worst of it.
I've got a lot of questions.
Okay.
Dr. Fauci.
Can I finish the answer to you?
You were the director of the NIH for more than 3 decades.
And infectious diseases for more than 3 decades. Is that right?
38 plus years.
38 years. Okay. And I assume that you've never been accused of trying to start a disease before. Is that right?
That is correct.
You have devoted your life to fighting infectious diseases for the American people. Is that right?
That is correct.
And to say to the American people about your service to America.
Yeah, I mean, it's not an accident that like the COVID vaccines were a scientific marvel, an international scientific community collaborative effort, and brought about in phenomenal time. And the mRNA vaccine research is also most likely going to yield incredibly positive results for severe life-altering, life-ending diseases. And it is, of course, because of that reason that every dumb fuck is chirping against it, because they're stupid. I don't know what else to say about it other than the fact that you are just afraid of things you don't understand, like a goddamn caveman, like an ape. Okay? Like, that's it. And I can't believe that I had this argument over and over again for like years, and now we're back in the pocket of like 2021. It's mind-boggling to me that this is what's happening. It's crazy. Oh my God. We're desperately trying to kill ourselves, I think. That's what's going on. This is the irony. That so many of these people would be too dumb to survive if modern medicine didn't exist. And now all of those people are becoming the majority. I'm not being a eugenicist, I promise. Okay? I'm joking. But also kind of not joking in the sense that like the very same people that are surviving due to modern medicine are turning into like this very loud majority of people that are like, actually modern medicine is bad. It's what the fuck? Oh my God. What is a conspiracy theory? Is the kind of distortions of a particular subject, like a lab leak? I was parachuted into CIA like Jason Bourne.
Life.
Oh, here, let's hear what Ms.
His
Dangle.
personal life in a way that should be unacceptable to all Americans. Dr. Fauci, you and I have known each other for a long time, and I'm not even going to admit how long. But during that time, I've seen your commitment
Get in
not
there,
just
Debbie.
to science,
Get in there,
but
Deborah.
to advancing the greater good. And I know that this isn't a topic you enjoy discussing, and I'm sorry, I'm going to have to ask you about it. But I think the American people need to know.
Anyway, she's fucking talking about the death threats that he's receiving.
At the White House.
Here's another Deborah. This time an evil Deborah. Okay. Fauci, you said about 4 or 5 things that were just not true.
You, sir, did you cite this article at the White House because the NIH director
We go from good Deborah to bad Deborah.
asked you to suppress the lab leak theory?
I did not do that in response to anybody's suggestion to suppress anything. It was in response to a question that someone asked at the podium. And I did not edit any paper as shown in my official testimony. So you said about 4 or 5 things, Congressman, that were just not true.
Well, we have emails to prove it.
Well, you don't.
Thank you, and I yield back.
Owned.
I now recognize Mr. Mfume from Maryland for
Fucking owned. I yield back. Fauci's grilled by GOP Representative Michael Cloud about if he still supports COVID public health measures. These were important when we were trying to stop the tsunami of deaths. Yeah, I don't Dude, this shit is crazy, man. It's crazy.
Over the course of the pandemic. And
What the fuck? I know it's like really fashionable to shit on Fauci ouchie and stuff like that now, I think. I don't know. Because the holdouts, the ones that like still care about this are the most manic people of all time. So they kind of dominate the conversation amongst themselves about how bad of a guy he is or whatever. Like, I don't know what to say.
me a yes or no as to whether you believe these measures were justified. Business closures?
Early on, when 5,000 people were dying a day, yes.
Church closures?
Same thing.
School closures?
Again, the
Stay-at-home orders?
these were important when we were trying to stop the tsunami of deaths that were occurring early on. How long you kept them going is debatable.
Mask mandates for adults, mask mandates for children, mask mandates for children under 5.
And going back to what I said before, all of that is in the context of, at the time, 4,000 to 5,000.
I love that, like, we have completely fucking dropped preparedness for a novel virus, okay, that wiped out, that removed 1.2 million people from the U.S. total population. What the fuck are we talking about? It is literally part of the reason why Donald Trump did not get reelected. A major part of the reason, because people were like, holy shit, we are getting fucking ruthlessly slaughtered by an invisible enemy. Okay? And half of the population at the time was like, I'm on the fucking war. I'm joining the coronavirus war on the side of COVID. All you needed to know at the time, with how silly these arguments were, was that first, COVID was fake. Okay? First, COVID was fake. And then we mustn't get vaccinated against this fake COVID. But also simultaneously, we should be going around, and that it was a bioweapon created by the Chinese that was developed to kill Americans. But also, it's not fake and it's real, and that's why we need ivermectin. It doesn't even stand up to an ounce of scrutiny. Like the logic that they were trying to cultivate was like faulty. It's just a couple questions would like destroy the argument in and of itself. It's both fake and also a Chinese bioweapon that was built in a lab that we paid for. Okay, to kill American whites, the God-fearing patriots. But it also is, you shouldn't vaccinate against it, but you should also use another, you should use another medication, ivermectin, even though it's fake and gay. Like, it's inherently contradictory principles that you were deploying in this argument. Didn't some Republicans say that Jewish and Asian people are inherently immune or something? No, it wasn't a Republican congressperson. It was RFK Jr. You're thinking of RFK Jr., who once famously said COVID was a bioweapon developed by Ashkenazi Jews and the Chinese to kill white people. That was not a Republican congressperson. That was RFK Jr.
Under 5, there's scientific evidence for that?
Excuse me?
Mask mandates for children under 5, there's scientific evidence supporting that?
There was no study that did masks on kids before. You couldn't do the study. You had to respond to an epidemic that was killing 4,000 to 5,000 Americans per
Vaccine
day.
mandates for employees, vaccine mandates for students, vaccine mandates for military.
Vaccines save lives. It is very, very clear that vaccines have saved hundreds of thousands.
Like the arguments against the lockdowns or the preventative measures before we fully grasped how this thing was like spreading and like what it was doing to people was definitely heavy-handed, but perfectly understandable. And even then, nobody in the red states listened to it anyway and suffered the consequences of it. Okay? And beyond that, when we get to the vaccine part of the conversation, that's when you really lose me, where I'm just like, bro, you are fucking insane. Like, this deleted 1 million Americans, man. What the fuck are we talking about? 1 million Americans just deleted. Gone. Dead.
Of Americans and millions.
I'm not debating. We're talking about the COVID-19. Did or do the vaccines, the COVID-19 vaccine, stop anyone from getting COVID?
I answered that question to the chairman. Early on, it became clear that
they did.
No, actually, no. In the beginning, it clearly prevented infection in a certain percentage of people, but the durability.
Did you have
of it-
COVID? I did. And that shit sucked. But honestly, thank God for the fucking vaccine, because I don't even want to imagine how badly it would have sucked ass. I streamed through it. If it wasn't for the fucking vaccines, holy fuck, I don't even want to know what the hell would have happened to me, okay? It's just like ridiculous. The patent of the COVID test kit is owned by a Rothschild. It was filed in 2015. Okay, brother.
Its ability to prevent infection was not long. It was measured in months.
And they didn't stop you from spreading it either.
Early on, it did if it prevented infection, but what became clear that it did not prevent transmission when the ability to prevent infection waned.
I think what's troubling is when the American people look at
It literally eliminated some of the worst symptoms, which means that, yes, it is going to have a tendency to reduce spread. That's it. If you reduce the symptoms, you automatically reduce the spread. It's, oh my God.
the certainty and the case at which people lost jobs, they lost livelihoods.
In science, because Mr. Fauci, you were quoted on CBS Face the Nation saying it's easy to criticize, but they're really criticizing science because I represent science. Do you represent science, Mr. Fauci?
I am a scientist who uses the scientific method to gain information.
Yes, you said you represent science.
I don't think that there should be like this big of an intelligence gap between two individuals having a conversation. Again, another fucking achievement for modern medicine. And in the case of Marjorie Taylor Greene, maybe an L for modern medicine. You know what I mean? Like, maybe we shouldn't be saving everybody. Okay? Like, hearing Republicans talk about this sort of shit over and over again kind of makes me question, perhaps it's better to just let society collapse a little bit, you know? It's crazy. It's crazy to me.
But they're really criticizing science because I represent, yes or no?
I don't think it is.
Okay, well, we'll take that as a you don't know what you represent.
Oh,
But this, as director of the NIH, you did sign off on these so-called scientific experiments. And as a dog lover, I want to tell you this is disgusting and evil, what you signed off on, and these experiments.
Bro, conservatives do this shit all the time. Whatever they choose to vilify, they look at like the route tasks that go into whatever they decide is like supposed to be vilified as like scary. Okay? And it is ridiculous. They do this for, you know, any kind of medicine, right? They do this for abortion. They're like, yeah, you go in and you scoop the baby, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, you could explain the process of open heart surgery with similar vigor, okay? Like, you could describe open heart surgery in such a way that is absolutely terrifying to the average American. That doesn't change the reality that it is a, you know, incredible medical achievement and necessary for survival. It's so fucking stupid. Yeah, they do this with gender affirming care. They do this with abortions. They do this with everything that they decide is like scary and bad. When in fact, you could literally describe in horrifying detail the process in which you do an open heart surgery. Okay? They literally break your rib cage after sawing your chest open. Okay? They pry back your rib cage after cracking it open in order to get to your fucking heart. Okay? How do you think surgery works? That's how surgery works. And we are basically one step removed from advocating against open heart surgery because of how fucking unscienced these dipshits are.
That happened to beagles paid for by the American taxpayer. And I want you to know Americans don't pay their taxes for animals to be tortured like this. So
yeah, Americans pay their taxes for Palestinians to be murdered. I want you to understand, sir. I pay my taxes so we can kill Palestinian babies. That's why I'm paying my taxes. I know about you. Why couldn't we put Palestinian children in the Beagle murder contraption instead? Did we run out of Palestinian babies to kill? No.
So the type of science that you are representing, Mr. Fauci, is abhorrent, and it needs to stop. Mr. Fauci, you also...
I got to be in an operating room during a coronary artery bypass graft. They literally stop your heart during the middle of it. Just like you... Whoa. Just like how you stopped the broadcast with a top of the hour ass break. Fuck. God damn. He didn't even say ab break. He said ass break. Breaking that ass. God damn, son. I just got fucking destroyed. If you don't want the top of the hour ass break to destroy you, though, destroy your ass, well, then all you need to do is subscribe for $5 or for free with Twitch Prime by connecting your Amazon Prime account to your Twitch account. Here's a 3-minute ad break now.
also represent the type of science that where you confess that you made up the COVID rules, including
I didn't hear what you
6
said.
feet social distancing and masking of children.
I never said I made anything up.
You admitted that you made it up. You
I
made it
didn't
up
say
as you went.
I made it up.
So are you saying this is fake news, Mr. Fauci?
I didn't say I made anything up.
I mean, it's Daily Mail, so yes. Yeah, of course it's fake news. It's fucking Daily Mail, dumbass. What the fuck?
What did you say?
I said that it is not based in science and it just appeared.
But this is science.
What does dogs have to do with anything that we're talking about today?
These are scientific experiments. This is what you signed off on. But you also told the American people they had to distance by 6 feet. They had to wear masks. But let's also, in our country, are recommending medical suggestions and advice and making up guidelines like 6 feet distancing and masking of children. Do you think that's appropriate? Do the American people deserve to be abused like that, Mr. Fauci? Because you're not doctor. You're Mr. Fauci in my few minutes.
Oh my God. I hate her so much. Bro, dude, Americans have drank too much of the dumb bitch juice, okay? We're out here sipping on that dumb bitch juice. We're a nation of dumb bitches. The fucking demagoguery here is actually incredible. Republicans are just the dumbest, most cynical pieces of shit ever. She's like, yeah, you are no longer a doctor, sir. You're Mr. until my time is over. It's like, shut the fuck up, dude. Oh my God. Yo! I mean, dogs shouldn't be put in tests like that. Can we agree? No, dumbass. Shut the fuck up. Shut up. Shut the fuck up, vegans. Shut the fuck up. You are just as dumb of a bitch as Marjorie Taylor Greene is. Oh my God, dude. Vegans can't stop themselves from chirping. Listen, man, I'm sorry. I'm not going to fucking sit. First of all, God damn it. It is so easy for even the dumbest cretin like Marjorie Taylor Greene to like capture the attention of people like this. Okay. You have been duped. You are now saying, let's hand it to Marjorie Taylor Greene. She's cynically talking about these dogs. She doesn't give a fuck about any dogs. She doesn't even give a fuck about humans. What the fuck are we talking about? She's a Titan. She eats them. Okay. That's number one. Number two, you are stupid as fuck for literally going, yeah, actually, we should literally just stop. You know what? I don't think this Anthony Fauci guy is a good guy. Like, why? Even if your position as animal testing for medical purposes is bad, this is not the time to chirp about it. Okay. Which I don't even have an issue with regardless. Okay. I don't. It's ridiculous. I think ultimately, animal testing, no matter how cruel it looks, for medicine is infinitely more valid, okay, before human testing starts especially, is infinitely more valid than just eating them. And I don't even have a problem with eating them. And neither does this the fucking dipshit. So shut up. What are you talking about? Your take a few minutes ago was better.
No, I don't need your answer. I want to talk about this right here.
Mr. Chairman,
Fauci,
objection.
I reclaim my time. I reclaim my time, Mr. Raskin.
Gentlelady, point of order.
Animal testing isn't even a good indicator of human compatibility of medicine. That's not even fucking true. I can't speak for beagles, but like rats is a pretty solid, has a relatively similar immune system structure. So that's why they do it. Why do you think they do it? Why do you think they do it? Why? Why do they do it? You think it's because they want to fucking torture and murder beagles? Is that why? Like what other purpose would the scientific community have? Because they just feel like it? Like what's happening here? Oh. I'm anti-child, so they should just use children. Please don't do this. The discourse is annoying. Vegans will only continue to be annoying and is giving people like me a bad rep. It's funny because we know, okay, we've polled this community. 5% or less than 5% of this community is vegan. And yet anytime animal rights comes up, they happen to comprise 99% of the discourse. Okay. Oh my God.
And
Mr. Chairman,
point of order.
just in terms of the rules of decorum, are we allowed to deny that a doctor is a doctor just because we don't want him to be a doctor?
Yes, because in my time, that man does not deserve to have a license. As a matter of fact, it should be revoked, and he belongs in
Gentlelady,
prison.
suspend. The gentlelady should recognize the doctor as a doctor.
Thank you. Mr. Chairman, is this what we have become? Is this what we have devolved into? No decorum.
You know what? We can do that hearing about the poor men that were injected with syphilis because I support you in that. That's horrific. And this government that does things...
Wait. I support you, as in we should be injecting more black men with syphilis just to see what it does. We used to be a nation of values. We used to be a country, a proper country, where we could conduct illegal, unethical experimentation on black Americans like the Tuskegee Airmen. We should go back to that instead of the beagles.
Things like that to Americans doesn't have decorum to the American
Mr.
people.
Chairman,
The gentleman is out of
point of regular order, please.
The gentleman is out of order.
Decorum.
Bubbles because of your science.
What is this?
Plastic bubbles because of your science. Your repulsive, evil science. And let's go back to your very...
God, we're so dumb.
Own email. You said earlier you don't use email. Oh, you do. Right here. This is your own email where you said the typical mask you buy in the drugstore is not really effective in keeping out virus. I do not recommend that you wear a mask. This is your email. This is your own words. But yet children all over America were forced to wear masks. Healthy children forced to wear masks, muzzled in their schools. And then they were forced to learn from home because of your so-called science and your medical suggestions, while you and all your cronies get paid from Big Pharma. You know that what this committee should be doing? We should be recommending you to be prosecuted We should be writing a criminal referral because you should be prosecuted for crimes against humanity. You belong in prison, Dr. Fauci.
Mr. Chairman, I have another point of order.
Yo! Preach, sis. Speak on it, Queen. I'm on her side again.
I recognize Ms. Dingell.
Just want to make sure the record is clear. Dr. Fauci testified that he did not use his personal email for official business. He did not say he did not use email. And I think today, this particular has been full of lies and disregard and disrespect, and we need to stick to facts.
Thank you. The gentlelady's time had expired before the point of order. I now recognize Mr. Garcia from California.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Dr. Fauci, I am so sorry you just had to sit through that. That was completely irresponsible.
Moskowitz to Fauci. People like Marjorie Taylor Greene. I fucking hate Jared Moskowitz, but you know,
we live in.
The only one that happened to you, the only one that's happened to you is your former boss. Shut the fuck up, Jared. Piece of shit.
Wasn't so.
Wait, what is this?
Why was it so important the virus not have started in a lab?
Wasn't so important that the virus not. We don't know. We know
it was important to someone in the Biden administration, so much so that the top people at Meta, the top people at Facebook are asking, why are we getting all this pressure to downplay the lab leak theory? And we have an email from June of the same year, June 4th, 2021, saying the same thing. It was certainly important to somebody.
Well, what does that got to do with me?
I'm asking you because you're the expert on the coronavirus. I'm saying why was the administration so pushing not to have the lab leak theory as something that was viable?
I can answer that. I've kept an open mind throughout the entire process.
You kept an open mind, Dr. Fauci, open.
Bro, whose administration? Whose administration?
Open mind.
That is correct.
What happened in those 3 days? Why did Dr. Anderson and Mr. Anderson and Dr. Gary, why did they change their mind in 180 degrees? Because what Christian Anderson says 3 days later, after he said virus looks engineered, virus not consistent with evolutionary theory, 3 days later he says the main crackpot theories going around at the moment relate to this virus being somehow engineered, and that is demonstrably false. How did they figure all that out?
Yeah, also the lab leak theory was not a purposeful leak, but a possible mistake, which even then it's on questionable grounds. But the problem with this, much like everything else, is that it immediately turned into, oh, there was a deliberate leak. And it was actually not even just a deliberate leak. It was a deliberate weapon that was being tested, deliberately engineered to kill people, maybe even just white people. The Chinese actually literally developed this super weapon to kill as many people as possible in a laboratory that Anthony Fauci directly was working with, that he actually basically was also developing the weapon. It wasn't like people were just going around being like, there's a very credible theory that has damn near scientific consensus that it's most likely a zoonotic disease spread, okay, born out of a wet market, or an alternative theory being that while they were working on gain of function research in the Wuhan facility, that accidentally there was contamination that left the fucking facility, which, they have protocols against that sort of thing. But let's say that is credible. That has nothing to do with what the fuck these guys are talking about or what they were talking about at the time. Yeah, China created a virus to attack America, but weld locked doors in China. Yeah, exactly. China created this weapon, which literally they took every initiative and went above and beyond to ensure it did not spread to the Chinese population. So much so that they had like actual revolts in China due to the COVID-0 policies that they implemented, which, by the way, America kept repeating and shitting on, only to have the Chinese government respond and say, okay, no more COVID zero. And then COVID started spreading in China. So then American media started flexing on China and was like, lol, these guys all have COVID. Look at these fucking idiots.
3 days, Dr. Fauci.
You can do that.
Still have an open mind.
Well, what they did is that they testified before this committee.
One of the funniest things that happened. One of the funniest things that happened in that situation was also the maxed out copium that you heard from Reddit. Oh my God! If you think xenophobia is bad right now, you should remember back then. Maybe many of you weren't even in here at the time. But when I was originally covering this story, people would come into my chat every day and be like, no, you don't understand. Billions of Chinese are dead. Why do I know? Because urn sales have gone up. Okay? Yeah, they're actually literally pushing bodies by the millions into massive chimneys and burning the dead, and urn sales have gone up in China. China is at the precipice of a complete reset. Yeah, the fact that China handled COVID so much better than the U.S. melted so many white brains. Oh, 100%.
They did. They went back and looked at the sequences and realized that their initial concern was unfounded about that, and it did not look at all like it was manufactured. But as they said in their paper, even though they feel it was more likely.
3 days, they figured it out.
That's exactly. You could do that in 3 days. You can scan sequences in a day. You don't need 3 days.
Okay. There was a push to downplay the lab leak theory.
Not on my part.
Really?
Really?
Wow.
Wow.
I think most of the country would find that amazing. I still got 11 seconds.
But look at the facts. I've kept an open mind throughout the entire process.
All right, I yield back. Do you agree that there was a push?
Wow. Good stuff.